天渐渐亮，早晨悠扬，雨满城阳，蓝色海洋，避风港，车山朗朗，笑声明亮，随风飘扬，满怀希望。手牵手，一起走。 真优雅，郁闷天涯，淡似海洋。一方歌，闪闪朗朗，笑声明亮，随风飘扬，满怀希望。手牵手，一起走。
Very good morning, everyone. And I'm really delighted that you are able to join us this morning. I'm Mrs. Fiona Tan, Principal of St. Nicholas Girls School, and welcome to our virtual open house. With me this morning are three of my colleagues. Okay, let me first introduce them to you. Okay, we have Mr. Aloysius Ting, my Vice Principal, Mr. Joseph Chan, Head of Department, Integrated Program, and Ms. Grace Koh, Lead Teacher. Ms. Koh also oversees our Talent Development Committee. So we are really very excited to have this opportunity to share about St. Nick's with you and give you a glimpse about how life is like in St. Nick's. To set the context, and to give you a good overview of the school, I'm just going to begin with a short presentation, and then thereafter we'll move on to the question and answer segment. So thank you so much for sharing your questions with us. And over the next 1.5 hours, we will try our best to answer as many of them as we can. So give me a moment while I share my screen. Right, so for those of you who have just joined us, a very warm welcome to St. Nicholas again. Right, let me just begin by sharing with you the very unique St. Nick's experience. St. Nick's is the only Catholic mission full girls school in Singapore, and we provide a very unique learning environment. So how would I describe the culture in St. Nick's? Perhaps I can summarize it in terms of three broad facets. First and foremost, we have a very supportive and caring school. It's a school where our girls are very encouraging, very supportive, and they do their best to help one another. We also promote a very strong culture of excellence. When you come to St. Nick's, what we want you to do is to try your very best, to be the best that you can be. And we have a whole range of interesting opportunities and experiences for you to discover your talents and to develop them even further. At the same time, we also have a culture of empowerment. It's a culture where we provide a safe environment for you to try, to perhaps face a little bit of setbacks, but yet learn from it, grow even more resilient, and do even better. As I mentioned earlier, St. Nick's is a Catholic mission school. So we have our daily prayers. We start each day with a prayer, and before important events, we also include everyone in a prayer so that we are able to proceed smoothly and that we will enjoy success as well. For Catholic students, we invite you to join us for our weekly masses and also for our retreats. But fundamentally, what makes St. Nick's distinctive as a Catholic mission school? It is really the Catholic teachings that underpin all that we do in school. And these are the two very important principles. Number one, we believe in the dignity of everyone, and we expect our staff and students to embrace and care for and treat everyone with respect. Secondly, we also promote a life of service. We hope that our girls understand that they are very blessed. They have really amazing talents and abilities, and we hope that they are able to use their talents and their strengths to make the world a better place. When you join St. Nick's, you would also befriend and form very close bonds of friendship with 3,000 other sisters. St. Nick's is a full school, so we have both the primary and secondary section, and together there are more than 3,000 students. When you come to St. Nick's, I think one thing that you will feel is a culture of warmth and friendliness, and the fact that your seniors are always looking out for you. So in St. Nick's, you would form friendships that will last you a life, and you would be in an environment that is supportive and caring, and one where the teachers and students will work very hard to ensure that everybody succeeds. St. Nick's is also a SAP school, right? A SAP school means that we provide a very immersive learning environment for you to develop your competencies in both the English and Chinese language. We also provide a very rich environment for you to better understand and appreciate the Chinese culture. Okay. I think recent events have also showed how small and interconnected the world is. And as such, in our SAP curriculum, we also expose you to both the Chinese and Western philosophy so that you would have an insight as to how these two spheres of thinking approach the various global trends, the values, and the reasoning that we see around us. Right. So let me talk about our total curriculum. And really, we are focusing on preparing you for the future. And that happens along 3 pillars. Okay, the first one is to really develop important 21st century skills so that you are really able to go out and face the challenges of an increasingly volatile world. At the same time, we also believe that values, your mindset, and your leadership competency becomes increasingly important in this volatile world. At the same time, one of our very distinctive programs is our talent development program. And that's the one where we want to provide opportunities for you to discover and pursue your talents and strength. So our O-level program has long been a tradition of excellence in the school. As you are aware, St. Nick's offer 2 tracks, the O-level program and the integrated program. And year after year, our O-level program has produced excellent results. So why is that so? First and foremost, we provide a very enriched learning experience for our girls that goes far beyond the syllabus. There are opportunities for you to engage in multiple competitions, enrichment programs, which focuses on developing a very strong critical thinking disposition in you, and to also help you to make connections between the different subjects that you are studying. Fundamentally, we want you to be lifelong learners, and our curriculum is designed to help you to be self-reflective and self-directed as well. Our integrated program, it's designed through a joint partnership with Catholic High School, Singapore Chinese Girls' School, and Eunoia Junior College. Okay, our IP girls spend 4 years in St. Nick's, and then they progress to Eunoia Junior College for 2 years. Okay, our integrated program really provides a very, very enriching opportunity for you to learn and grow and really develop very strong skills that will place you in good state for the future. One of our key programs is the World Readiness programs that really exposes you to a wide range of global issues and develop a very discerning competency in you to look at issues with a more critical eye. Okay. We also expose you to various philosophies of knowledge, okay, primarily the Western philosophy and the Eastern philosophy, so that you look at complex issues from 2 perspectives. There's also a very strong focus on current affairs and emerging Asia. So the question that you may ask is, so am I more suited for the integrated program or the O-level program? Actually, both programs are equally rigorous and provide amazing opportunities for you. What you need to do is to really understand and know your own learning style, and decide what is the best program for you. The O-level program is more teacher facilitated. Learning is a little bit more structured. Okay, in terms of assessment, there is also a larger proportion of pen and paper assessment because ultimately we are leading you to the O-level exams. The integrated program provides a more broad-based learning experience. And for students, we also give you more autonomy and more independence in terms of learning. Assessment-wise, it is also broad-based and can cover a range of methods beyond the pen and paper. So you'll be asked to do performances, research papers, independent areas of studies as well. Right? So ultimately, it is your own comfort level and your own learning style. If you look at a cutoff point between our O-level program and our integrated program, they are very similar. In 2020, our current Set 1, the cutoff point for our O-level program is 253, and for our integrated program is 257. Right, as I mentioned, for our IP girls, they would progress onto Eunoia Junior College. They are now residing in Bishan, and they are one of the top tier colleges in Singapore. In the past 2 years, they have achieved commendable A-level results. Many of our talent development programs also continue in Eunoia Junior College. So we are essentially preparing you for a 6-year span of very rich learning opportunities. Right, beyond the current syllabus, we also want to ensure that you are well placed to face the challenges of our future. So regardless of the track that you are in, we provide really amazing and enriching and interesting enrichment modules for you. So at lower secondary, okay, you will go through the design thinking and entrepreneurship education modules that help to develop an innovative mindset in our girls. Okay, we also have a 4-year information and research literacy program that helps you to be critical thinkers, and to ask the right questions, and to pursue your interests at a deeper level in areas that you are interested in. So like I mentioned earlier, it is very important for us to go beyond Singapore, to have a global outlook. And that's where our signature cultural intelligence program comes in. And that's where we give our girls the skills and the knowledge to work with people from different culture and to navigate the East and West, not just through our CQ program, but also through various immersion trips around the world, in Asia, to China, and even to the United States. Right, so learning definitely takes place beyond the classroom, and you would see that we have very interesting activities, camps, various modules and workshops that helps you to be a more confident and resilient team player. When you come to Saenix, what we really hope is that you have a growth mindset, that you're willing to try, you are not deterred by setbacks, disappointments, but in fact you embrace such opportunities and see them as opportunities for you to learn, to grow, and do even better. What I can assure you is that Saenix provides a very safe and caring environment. Okay, we are there to guide you, we are there to lead you, and we know that when you try your best, okay, and even if you don't succeed, we are all there to support you and to cheer you on. We know that our girls are very able, they are very capable, and we know that when they leave our school and they join the workforce, they can make a tremendous impact on the community. So every child that comes into St. Nicholas will go through a very comprehensive and rigorous leadership development program. And we do encourage our girls to go forth and take on various leadership roles, not just in the class, in the CCA, and in the school, but also when they go forth to engage the community in various projects. Right, one very interesting program in Saenix is our Passion Pursuit module, and that provides opportunities for all of our girls to discover interests and to pursue their passions. So we provide very interesting workshops, seminars for you to pursue your interests in the affective domain, in the aesthetics domain, in the physical domain, and even in the academic domain. Just let us know what you're interested in, and we'll do our best to see how we can support you. Right, so in Saenix, there are more than 100 talent development programs, including MOE special talent development programs, as well as school-based talent development programs. Okay, these programs are offered not just locally, but overseas as well, and you will be working not just with the teachers in Saenix, but also with lecturers, professors in the various institutions of higher learning. We also have a very vibrant CCA and leadership programs in Saenix. There are over 26 CCAs that you can choose from. All of them are high-performing CCAs. And in those CCAs, they also provide you with additional opportunities to develop your skills, your interests, and your leadership competencies. Right, at the end of it, what we hope to do is to work very closely with you and your parents to nurture students who are values-driven and future-ready. You believe that it's important for you to be an innovator and a pathfinder. When you come to our school, we would really ask you to think of ideas on how you can improve the school and how you can make society a better place. Right? And ultimately, we hope that in the 4 years that you are with us, you will graduate as a girl of grace, a woman of strength, and a leader with heart. Today, we also launched our open house website. There's lots of very interesting information on it. It includes videos of our programs and a very interesting school tour, not just video-based, but also Minecraft-based, right? At the same time, to also hear the stories of our teachers and students about the culture in Saenix and how life is like in Saenix. Okay, so that's the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention. All right, so I see that we have lots of questions on Slido. Right, and let me go through the questions, and I also ask my colleagues to share their experiences and their responses as well. All right, so I see that we have quite a lot of questions regarding the life in Saenix. Okay, how is life like? What kind of experiences can my daughter look forward in Saenix? So really, I think Saenix has a very unique culture. I've been a principal in St. Nicholas for 4 years, And I have to say that I've grown to love the school very much. Joining St. Nick's is akin to joining a family. We are very embracing, we are very inclusive, and I think also because as a Catholic mission school, we see that every child is a gift from God, and it is our mandate and responsibility and our duty to do our best to help every child achieve her potential. In St. Nicholas as well, we do our best to help our girls be the best that they can be. It is a culture of excellence. But I also want to caveat and say that when we talk about a culture of excellence, it is not a culture where we pursue marks, we pursue success, and we go after the last mark. That's not the case. A culture of excellence means wanting our girls to do their best, to not be afraid to fail, to dare to try. That's very important. And to learn and grow wiser from their experience. What I feel very strongly about programs is that it's also a culture of empowerment. We recognize that for our girls, in time to come when they leave us and when they go to the world beyond, it's going to be a tough world. And we want them to give them that belief and confidence in themselves that they are able to overcome whatever challenges. And more importantly, also give them the skills to learn, to think critically, to think creatively, so that when they are faced with challenges, they are able to really bring forth that resilient mindset, that innovative mindset for them to overcome that challenge. Right. So I think, in terms of the activities, there's a whole range. We have a whole range of talent development programs in every aspect of school life, from the academic domains, from the humanities, the languages, the math and sciences, to the sports domains, to the performing domains, and even the leadership domain as well. So maybe at this juncture, let me invite my colleagues to share a little bit more about some of our signature talent development program. One of which is our Bicultural Studies program. St. Nick's is a SAP school, and we work in partnership with MOE to offer our BSP program that leads to the BSP scholarship for very able students. So let me invite Ms. Koh to share a little bit more about the program.
Thank you, Mrs. Tan. Good morning to all. I'll be introducing the BSP program. So the Bicultural Studies program is a 4-year program, starting 2 years in St. Nick's, and they'll end the next 2 years in Eunoia GC. So this program only for the IP students, not because we think that they are more able, but because of the program structure that involves extensive research and immersion components. Thus, we are not able to offer the BSP program within the O-level curriculum. However, O-level students who are interested can opt to join our IP program in year 3. And if they meet the criteria to join the IP program, they can also be invited to join our BSP program in year 3. So for the BSP program, we seek to nurture not only students who are highly competent in Chinese. It involves understanding the contemporary Chinese history, culture, and issues related to their foreign policies, economic issues, and also relationships with the US and ASEAN and Singapore. So it's really a curriculum that actually exposes the girls to very real issues in the world and honing their critical thinking skills. So as mentioned, it involves immersion component. So they will have the opportunity to visit China for 4 weeks, and 1 week in an ASEAN country and 2 weeks in a US country in St. Nick's in the 2 years that they have with us. And of course, they still have other opportunities when they move on to EJC. And the signature program for our BSP is also the research component, where all BSP students will have the chance to be mentored under our teachers to conduct research on their own. So I think this is a really interesting program that many of our girls are actually interested in. And we do have a strong cohort of BSP students in our school ever since we started the program. Yeah, and I think we have a question on the criteria for BSP students. So the criteria for BSP students will be based on their Sec 2 year-end results for High Chinese, as well as the overall average of the subjects offered. Okay, so that's for the IP students. For OP students, they will have to first fulfill the criteria to transfer to the IP track, then they will be considered for the BSP program. We also have the BSP scholarship as this is a MOE special program. So for the scholarship, itself, selected students will be nominated by the school, but the final decision will be made by MOE. All right. And also the question on whether can they take MEP and BSP at the same time? Yes, they can. But MEP is a 4-year program. It starts in Sec 1. BSP starts in Sec 3. So they can, and we do have students who offer both programs, but also have to take note that they can only take one scholarship. So if they are already an MEP scholar, they will not be eligible for the BSP scholar in Sec 3. So that's the only criteria. If not, they actually can opt for both programs. Yeah, that's all for BSP, Mrs. Tan.
Okay, thank you. So, related to that, can a student participate in more than one talent development program? Yes, we do. In fact, we have a fair number of girls who take part in multiple talent development programs as well. But just to take note that what Grace has shared, in terms of scholarships, they would likely have to be able to choose only one scholarship, right? Okay. Let me now invite Mr. Ting to talk about our Math and Science Talent Development Program.
Thank you, Mrs. Tan. So to kickstart the Maths and Science, I'll also be sharing about aesthetics programs and our sports talent development. So one of the questions I noticed was, the NEC seems to be very focused on Chinese and aesthetics. How about Maths and Science? So just to reiterate, we would like to develop all girls in any area they're talented in. So I'll kickstart with the Maths and Science. For Maths and Science, students who are keen, who demonstrate the disposition, the passion, and the attitude, as well as aptitude for Maths and Science, they will be able to enjoy many enriching in-school enrichment activities, competitions, as well as opportunities to be attached to external agencies. So let me give you an example. We have our mathematics Olympiads, that's for maths. We have Olympiads in chemistry, biology, and physics for students who want to pursue that in the sciences. The Maths and Science students, in lower sec, they do have the opportunity to be to join MOE Gifted Education Branches Innovation Program. Okay, so to develop their innovative mindsets. In our integrated program, Maths and Science students will also have the opportunity to pursue a research project that is related to mathematics or science. So they can go into independent study, they can work in groups and explore areas which are related to their syllabus, but also go beyond to explore the authentic settings of what Maths and Science looks like in the real world. For science, some of the opportunities that they could look forward to is attachment to agencies such as A*STAR, to our local universities, where they work very closely with mentors in those agencies and university researchers. So this will allow them to really enrich themselves and see what science is like outside and beyond the school setting. There are also many chances for them to go on conferences, to join forums. I'm sure many of us know about the National Science Challenge. So SENIX is a perennial participant, and we usually go quite far in the National Science Challenge. And looking at the questions that the Science Challenge has featured these days, you can see it's not just science, it's mathematics as well. And it's really, really thinking out of the box to stretch their critical thinking. So these are some of the very rich opportunities that our girls will be able to enjoy in the mathematics and in the sciences. Now for our aesthetics program, of course, SENIX is a school that offers the music elective program. It's a 4-year program for students who are interested in developing their music passion further. So students who join the program will have rich classroom experiences, allowing them to explore music at a much deeper level. They'll not only be able to hone their skills in playing, but they'll understand aspects such as the history of music, cultural development. And right now, because we as Singaporeans, we're a very, very unique place in the world, both the nexus of East and West, the music elective program also allows immersion and exposure to Western and Eastern philosophies of music. Okay, so as in the music elective program, it's gearing students up to offer O-level higher music, and that is counted as a humanities subject. For our girls in the integrated program, those who join MEP, the music elective program, will have the option to continue in the 2-year MEP at EJC as well. Okay, so that's for our music elective program. And lastly, but definitely not the least, is our sports enrichment program for girls who wish to pursue and build their passion and sporting excellence. So girls in our sports CCAs will definitely be able to take part in this program. The purpose is to help build their resilience, their grit, and also to become positive role models of sporting culture, to show what it is to overcome challenges. The girls in this program, they will be put through structured development for their sports areas, but also character development. And we hope that these girls will eventually become leaders, not only in their sports, but even in their class, even in platforms such as the Student Council. Okay, and for girls who are really, really passionate, they can also offer a subject called exercise and sport science as an O-level subject. So all our programs, whether it's aesthetics, languages, science, maths, sports, all of them are available for our girls to pursue whichever area they're passionate in.
For SENIX, okay, we also have a very enriching humanities development program, right? So at this point, let me invite Mr. Joseph Chan to share a little bit more about it.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Tan. Good morning, parents. So just to share with you for our humanities talent development programs. In general, our school offers quite a wide range of opportunities for students to develop their interests and their strengths in the humanities in different areas. So they have both school-based enrichment programs and also external MOE-based enrichment programs. So one of our signature is the Humanities Talent Development Program, which students can apply to join in Upper Sec 3. This is open to both O-level students and integrated program students. So through this, the students learn how the different humanities, in this case, geography, history, literature, are actually integrated and connected. So they understand, for example, how certain themes like power can be manifested and shown through text, space, and also time. So this is how we draw the connections between the three disciplines. In addition, students have the opportunity to participate in external competitions, for example, Model United Nations, or external programs run by MOE, such as the Humanities and Social Science Research Programs. One of the capstone programs for students on the HTDP or Humanities Talent Development Program, as well as students who are very interested to develop the humanities, right, is actually we do have a humanities learning journey overseas. For the past few years, we have brought students to places like Japan and Taiwan, and in future, we're looking to go to ASEAN countries, where students can visit firsthand how the humanities are manifest in very authentic settings. So they will do a field trip, they will go and learn about the history of a place, learn how the history influences, for example, the geography, for example, tourism, numbers of business opportunities in the area, or how spaces are used in a certain area, and how spaces and the narratives that are crafted to explain all these things. So as you can see, together with school-based enrichment programs and also external MOE programs, together with immersion programs, we offer a very rich environment for students to develop and pursue their interests in humanities. In addition, we also emphasize research. So as you may have noticed, all the different disciplines in our school, we offer a research program. So specific to the IP students in Upper Sec, they'll offer a year-long independent research where the students can choose their own topic. So this is something that's fairly unique. The students will decide what they want to do, and there is no limit to what they can do. So students, for example, are looking into animal rights, inequality in Singapore. Some have looked into Disney films. There were students in the past that have studied, for example, how BTS, the nature of BTS music has changed from their first album to their second album. Of course, this was mentored by the music teachers, of course. But basically, we encourage and we emphasize that research is a live and authentic topic that must be applied to the real world setting, and we give students this kind of opportunities to do so. Yeah, thank you.
Right, thank you. So I'll just wrap up with our leadership development opportunities as well. Leadership development is a very distinctive program in St. Nicholas. So every child that comes into St. Nicholas will go through leadership development, various leadership development modules. Really, it's to help her to understand her own strength, to also develop identified leadership competencies and skills that we want to see in our students. And at the same time, we also provide opportunities for them to apply what they have learned and to take the lead. So these opportunities are very varied. It could be class-based leadership, subject-based leadership roles, leadership in committees, CCAs, as well as school-based projects and events as well. And of course, we also encourage our girls to be very self-directed in taking on community projects, in going out to look at what are the needs of the community and leading a project to address those needs. Right. At the same time, in terms of the kinds of exposure that we give to our students who show very clearly that they are on the leadership track, is also opportunities to engage and dialogue with industry leaders and community leaders as well. Right, so we provide them opportunities to go out, to meet the leaders, to also visit various places in Singapore to really get a sensing and a very good grasp of the community needs. So for us, our leadership is anchored on service. Here we believe very importantly that to lead, it is to serve, right? And the application of the leadership skills, the betterment of others, the support of the community are very important platforms in our leadership development program. Right. We do have one or two questions about the BSP, so I'll ask Ms. Koh to assist. It's regarding the overseas trips. Is it compulsory? And if the trips are so long, how does it affect the studies of the students?
Okay, I'll take the questions. The trips are not compulsory for non-scholars. So for scholars, it's compulsory for them to attend all immersion programs, which is subsidized by their scholarship by MUI. For non-scholars, they are free to opt in, and we encourage them to join in the immersion because it is part of the learning. It's not only about learning in the classroom, but also to really go down to China and US and ASEAN countries to understand what all these issues that we talk about in the classroom mean. So we do strongly encourage them. The longest trip that we have is the 4 weeks immersion trip to China at the end of the year. So it takes place after the end of year exams. So it does not impact their curriculum, but I think parents will miss them quite a bit in that 4 weeks. Yeah. There's also a question about how large is the student population for BSP. So we do have about average 40 to 50 students per cohort. Yeah, it's about 2 classes that we have in CENIX.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm going to move on to the integrated program. We have quite a fair number of questions on that. So maybe Mr. Chan, you can give us an overview of what the IP is like.
Thank you, Mrs. Tan. Okay, so I was looking through the questions on Slido and also the question the parents has sent us earlier when they registered. So maybe just allow me to touch on 2 main points. Firstly, what's the main difference between IP and the O-level program? And secondly, some of the signature programs in our IP. So first and foremost, the main difference between the IP and O-level program, I think Mrs. Tan had alluded to in the sharing, is actually in the learning experience for the students. So first and foremost, in terms of content and skills that are taught to the students, there is no significant difference between the IP and O-level program. This is because as a school, we believe that the students, regardless of which program they're in, are actually very strong students, and we are committed to providing them a quality and enriching education. So what differs then is the in-class experience, where, for example, IP students are encouraged to adopt a more inquiry-based focus towards their subjects. They are encouraged to ask questions and then find out their own answers, which is why we focus a lot on things like information and research literacy, the searching for answers, and the tending to want to find out. That is the striving for the, in some sense, better knowledge and more knowledge. So in the IP, you get that inquiry-based focus. You also get a bit more independent learning, where students are given projects or tasks that allow them a greater latitude for them to express themselves, to interpret the task in its own context and through the lens that the students adopt. So there's a bit of inherent ambiguity in such tasks that we usually call the alternative assessments, where students do need to either work collaboratively with their their classmates, and sometimes to seek clarification with the teachers to just make sure that their understandings are accurate and in line with the spirit of the task. So in this case, students are taught how to manage the ambiguity and uncertainties that are inherent in the task that's designed for them. Whereas in the O-level program, there's a bit more teacher guidance and more scaffolding in this area. So while yes, we still have ambiguity for the O-level programs, that area is much smaller and there's more teacher guidance in this area. Whereas for IP students, we give them more space to explore, more autonomy to explore and experiment in this area. So this is something that is unique, and you see this for the lower sec and both upper sec programs. You also see this spirit in the signature programs. So all IP students, once you join us, are required to go through the World Readiness Program, Passion Pursuit, and also the research programs. So this applies to all students. So there's no need to apply for it. There's no need. So our World Readiness programs includes the Cultural Intelligence program, Conversational Malay, and Social Studies modules in lower sec. In upper sec, we fine-tune the questioning ability of the students by introducing them to philosophical questioning techniques, and also encourage them to engage in very broad ethical and even moral questions that draws on both the Western and Eastern philosophies. So for example, students start to understand what is the nature of beauty, for example, and they study what is the nature of individual identity, for example. So these are some things that students start to engage with in upper sec. We also prepare them through a World Readiness program by giving them the breadth of knowledge beyond Singapore. So they do this in Emerging Asia, a topic that we do predominantly in Sec 4, year 4, where we expose students to specific case studies in ASEAN and the Greater Asian region. So we look at, for example, developments in India. We look at issues pertaining to sinking cities in Southeast Asia. We look at climate change and how it affects some of the low-lying regions in the world. We look at, for example, in previous years, we look at the Rohingya issue and intra-ASEAN migration. So when we look at all these topics, the objective is to give students not just the exposure to these topics, but also to get them to understand these topics from a deeper level. So that's the World Readiness program. Lastly, just to touch on the Passion Pursuit. The Passion Pursuit's focus is really to give students the opportunity to explore and deepen their interest areas. Yeah, so I also see that a lot of questions regarding the IP, a lot of them focus on the curriculum. What's it like? Is it rigorous? I would like to assure you that yes, it is going to be a bit rigorous, but the students are well supported, and majority of students actually do well in our programs. So we receive a very good feedback from our students every year. A lot of them feel that after 4 years in our school, they feel very prepared for junior college and the world beyond. So this is something that I want to just assure parents that the girls will be able to manage and be able to cope with the curriculum rigors. Yeah, and thank you.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chan. So I think, at the heart of it, when we design our curriculum, one of the key considerations is that the learning, the experiences in the school has to be authentic. It must reflect real life, and it must, prepare the girls for what is to come when they leave. We are definitely not teaching to the exams, and adopting a very academic focus. What we felt is more important is this broad-based range of competencies that is required for them when they go out in the world beyond school. Right. So if you talk about learning, it's the questions that we set, the problems that we give the girls, they're authentic real life problems. They are issues which the world is grappling with at this point in time. The nature of teaching also reflects how the work life will be like. It is opportunities for the girls to work with peers from different classes, different groups, different perspectives and background. It's facing situations and problems where there are no clear answers, and then really developing a wide range of creative solutions, trying them out and then seeing which one is the best it may not be the model answer, but that's the best solution for that problem. So going back to, is our curriculum realistic? Is our curriculum rigorous? I would say it is authentic, it is realistic, it's very, very enriching and very interesting. I would say that for the girls, it's important not to have a mindset where you look for model answers, right? It's one where we want you to think, we want you to explore, we want to hear your voice. What is your opinion and perspective of that issue? That's very important. I think also later on when Mr. Ting shares about the CCA and all, and we shared about all the talent development opportunities that we have, time management is very important. You have to be very disciplined. You need to manage your time well. You need to prioritize your commitments in the school, right? And then, really make the best of the 4 years and the opportunities that we have of you, right? So one thing to highlight is that for students in the integrated program, you have to take higher Chinese, right? It is a compulsory requirement in the IP program. In the O-level program, you have a choice whether you want to take higher Chinese or standard Chinese. So what happens if you are keen to join our IP program, but currently you are not taking higher Chinese? How is the higher Chinese curriculum like? And how do we support our girls? So Ms. Koh, over to you.
Thank you, Mrs. Tan. Like what Mrs. Tan mentioned, all IP students have to take the higher Chinese curriculum. So we do have a handful of students who did not have the higher Chinese background in primary, but they are still taking the higher Chinese subject in our IP program. So not to worry, we do monitor these girls very closely, and we highlight their needs to their subject teachers and ensure that adequate support is given throughout their learning. So we do monitor the girls who needs this extra support by giving them more scaffolding their learning, remediation if needed. All right. So we monitor their results every year to ensure that they meet the requirement at the end of the 4 years. Okay. So for most of our IP students, they do not take the Sec 3 O-level Chinese paper, whereas in the O-level program, they do take the Sec 3 O-level Chinese paper. This is also because we hope to free up time, more curriculum time, to do more inquiry-based learning in our HCL curriculum. But for a special group of students who probably might need that additional support in CL, we do have a small group of students taking that paper in Sec 3, and we have a teacher who will actually help them to prepare for the exam. So these are the support structures that we have put in place for students who do not have higher Chinese background in primary school. Thank you.
Right. And also because St. Nick's is a SAP school, we provide an immersive language learning environment for the students. So it's really being immersed in the Chinese language and culture as part of their daily lives, and the interaction with the students and the teachers, as well as the various curriculum and enrichment modules that they have. So they would be actively using the language and being exposed to the language when they are in school. So what happens, if we do have a student who is facing challenges on the academic front? What kind of support would the school give them? So Mr. Chan, would you like to share on that? And has there been cases, what happens if the child finds that maybe the IP track is not so suitable for her?
Thank you, Mrs. Tan. So I think many questions are very concerned about this, and we've surfaced this question several times. So we actually want to assure parents that majority of the students can cope. And for the students, for some of the students who maybe find it a bit challenging to manage the transition or to manage the overall workload in the IP curriculum, there are several layers of support. So firstly, of course, we have a strong team of form teachers and subject teachers who regularly follow up with both the students and the parents. Thereafter, in addition to that, they're also supported by the year ahead team, who closely sometimes provide additional support through the form of mentoring or even counseling, depending on the issues. If the student faces a very, very big issue, and let's say they need more support, we do have a GEMS committee, the extra mile committee, that also provides external mentoring and coaching for these students. This is in a form where a teacher is attached to the student and it helps them relook their study schedule and the study techniques and study methods. Generally speaking, we adopt a pastoral approach to this. We support the students, and if transferring between programs is not the first recourse. Yeah, but in the event, if let's say students will find it very, very challenging, and after the school has engaged the parents and also engage the students, then we generally try to work with the child to consider which program is the best fit for her and what's the best learning style for her to experience success in the school. Yeah, so there's something to emphasize that both our programs are equally good, and while we also allow students to move from the IP to OP if they cannot manage, we also have opportunities for students from the O-level program who do well in the lower sec to also move to the upper sec IP in year 3. I think Ms. Koh had already mentioned this earlier. So our further details of the criteria will be shared to students in sec 2 for this matter. Thank you.
Right. So what we see is that if the child comes in at sec 1 and we notice that she's off to a little bit of a shaky start, I guess these are the three main reasons. The first one, I would say, is the learning approach. Coming from primary to secondary, it does take some adjustment, and then that's when our teacher mentors will come in to guide her in terms of her learning style and her learning strategies. So that sets a very good base and foundation for her. The second one is, like I mentioned earlier, time management is very important. CCA is a very active part of school life. At the same time, there are a lot of enrichment activities. So a child needs to manage her time well and to manage her time productively. The third factor, I think, is something which is really within the control of the girls, is the time spent on your mobile devices. Right? It is a very big distraction, and it's one that where if you use it, the hours just slip by without you realizing it. So when you move on to secondary school, it's very important that you manage your screen time, and to really be very disciplined in terms of when you go on to social media and when you use your mobile devices to relax. So with that, if you have good learning strategies, you manage your time well, you're actually off to a very good start. Right? We know that coming in from primary to sec 1 is a time of transition, and at the point in time when you come in, we really support you in terms of understanding the school culture, giving you a good sense of how learning is like in St. Nicholas. The teachers will also pace the lessons, so to really introduce you to the different subjects that we have in school, and then slowly ramp up the teaching and learning as and when you become more comfortable and more competent in the skill sets required. Okay, so not to worry. I think for you girls, you need to give yourself time. When you move on to secondary school, it really takes about a term or so to adjust. You have new friends, you have really new culture, new programs. What I would advise you to do is enjoy the change, enjoy the new learning, be open to the new experiences. And if you need help or there are things that you're not sure of, just go ahead, ask your friend, ask the teacher, and we are more than happy to come in and to support you. Right? Okay. So maybe I'll go into some of the more practical issues about school hours in St. Nick's, and we can jump into the CCAs. Right? So secondary schools are full day schools. Typically for lower sec, you end about 1 to 2 p.m., depending on how your timetable is structured, right? There's a short break. Then in the afternoons, you would have your enrichment activities, and then thereafter followed by CCAs, right? So a typical day in school, if you have nothing on, probably ends at 2. If you have CCAs, it ends at 6:30, right? So it's a full day school. So hence, important to manage your time well, right? So maybe at this point, Mr. Ting, would you like to give an overview of our CCA programs?
Thank you, Mrs. Tan. So parents, just to share, CCA is a compulsory program in secondary school. So unlike in primary school where the students get to explore and then they get a chance to try out another CCA halfway through, in secondary school all students must take a CCA. The reason is that the CCA is part of the total curriculum that develops the students' character and allows them to interact in settings that they do not have in the classroom. So I'm very happy to share that St. Nick's has 26 CCAs, which range from sports, uniform groups, performing arts, and of course our clubs and societies. Now more details can be found on our website along with CCA videos which have been prepared by our students. that show what life in the various CCAs is like. Now, if you join the CCA, my advice really is to consider, your passions, what you do as a hobby, because those are things that could inform your choice of CCA. In the first week of school, when you have the orientation, there will be an opportunity to find out more about each CCA through our CCA fairs. So that will happen, if I remember correctly, on the Tuesday, okay, when the orientation program, the girls will have the chance to interact with the seniors from each CCA, and these seniors are actually student leaders in the CCA. So it's a chance for them to ask questions, find out more so they can make the informed decision. And following the CCA fair, in the next 2 weeks, they'll get the chance to choose the CCAs that they will be interested in joining. And from there, they will be scheduled to go for auditions. Because in SENICS, we believe that students really need to express their passions and their desires for the various activities, including CCA. So as they go to the auditions, they will show and present their case, why they feel that this CCA is the best CCA for them. And once they join the CCA, the students, well, it's a two-way commitment. They are committed to being fully present in the CCA across the 4 years. At the same time, the school is fully committed to develop them to become the best that they can be in their CCAs. So opportunities that they will have will, of course, include competitions, will include leadership opportunities, where they will then get to pay it forward and to groom the next generation. Now, what the CCA experience it will be like will, of course, vary depending on the CCA. Firstly, of course, the schedules will be slightly different. The sports and the performing arts CCAs have about 3 times a week, which is more than what you will see in the uniform groups and the clubs, which go up to twice a week. The reason is really because of the nature of the CCA. The sports and performing arts, they do need the time to practice. Okay, and in terms of sports, it's very important for the physical conditioning to prevent injuries from happening. But all of these schedules and the length, it's really to ensure that the girls are not shortchanged. They get the full opportunity to have good experiences in the CCA, and nobody is rushing through. Now, another reason why CCA is useful, a very practical reason, CCA will help them in their post-secondary applications to the next course of study. So I'm sure as parents, all of you are familiar as well. We've been through secondary school. We have our bonus points. I'm also very happy to share that it's easier to get the 2 bonus points now compared to when we were students. So the girls, if they commit and do their best, okay, in CCA, in leadership, participation, attendance, they will easily get their 2 points. For girls in the integrated program, the CCA points are also important because they can be used as a 7th subject to help bolster their application, their progression to EJC. Now, the most important thing, of course, is not to chase any competitions or rewards, but to develop character. And I'm very happy to share, because I always like to chat with our CCA girls and CCA leaders. They always come in when they take up the leadership position with a clear vision of what they want to do, how they want to grow their CCA and the legacy they want to leave behind. And that really shows you, even as 15-year-olds, this is the kind of experience that they have already received. Therefore, they wish to share it and bring it to the next level. So you can definitely look forward to your girls growing a lot in their CCA activities.
Right. So thank you. Right. So even in terms of our CCA, they also form a very important platform to develop 21st century skills and leadership development skills as well. For our girls, we believe as part of our culture of empowerment, it's very important to give our girls a voice, a say in what are the opportunities, the experiences, and in the CCAs, what is it that they would want to see in their CCAs. So they do play a very proactive role in partnering the teachers in developing the CCA and also in training their juniors as well. So for example, in our CCAs, as we approach the year end, our girls are also involved in the strategic planning exercise. They review what has been done in the CCA. They talk about their plans moving forward. They talk about how they are going to train their juniors and how they are going to develop and establish a very positive culture in the CCA. Right? So if you talk about the importance of leading in developing the 21st century skills, then the CCA plays a very, very important platform. in terms of developing those skill sets which are so important. Right? So all our CCAs do very well. They are opportunities not only in terms of the personal development of the students, but also in terms of what the CCA has achieved. Right? But I also echo what Mr. Ting says. When we start the year and we look at the CCA, the intention and the outcome, it is not that award or the competition. What we always focus on is the process. If we get the processes right, we get the mindset and aptitude right, that is the battle won for us. Whatever comes at the end, it is a natural result of all the effort that we have put in. And even if we share with our girls, if even at the end of the day, they are not able to achieve what they had set out to do, the learning process in itself has been a very enriching and fulfilling one. And at the end of the journey, when they look back at where they are as compared to where they started off, the growth, the learning, the friendships that they had formed, that is the more invaluable takeaway that we want our girls to appreciate from that experience too. Right? So is it challenging then, Mr. Ting, Saint-Nics, we have CCAs up to 3 times a week. So how do the girls manage their studies and their CCAs on top of all the other programs that we have for them?
That's actually a very good question. It's a very important consideration. The long day is a very big culture change for many girls in Sec 1 compared to primary school. But by and large, what some of the girls have done and has worked out for them very well is to plan out their own schedule very well. Okay, make use of whatever pockets of time they have to not only revise, but also to relax and unwind. So after the last period, okay, on CCA days, typically there is a good hour for them to have a good meal, to interact and catch up with their friends before CCA begins. So really it's up to the girls to know their time well. Then now parents, knowing that the CCAs do end about 6 o'clock or later, also important for the girls, just to make their way home as soon as they can, have a very good dinner at home, rest, and then plan out what they want to do. Because it's very, very easy for us to be distracted nowadays with Netflix all around, to forget what we're supposed to do. So actually, the most important thing is to plan out and to have a disciplined mindset so they're able to manage the different demands. Want to take the chance to answer some of the questions which have come out on the CCAs. You enjoy a certain sport but don't have any background, can they still join the CCA? Certainly, you can always apply. Now, what we will do in the auditions is we will assess the various students' ability. Some of our students actually don't have the background in the CCA, but they're able to demonstrate certain skill sets that will allow us to grow them in the CCA. Now, one of the important considerations for some of these CCAs, like sports CCAs, is student safety. So there are times where we need to see, is this student able to join the CCA and not get injured? Okay, and that's where background does play a certain role at times. For CCAs like dance, for example, a student maybe does not have background in dance, but was a gymnast in the past. Okay, that actually has some common skill sets in terms of like the flexibility, the ability to coordinate. Okay, or maybe the student who wants to join gym was a dancer in the past, same thing. So we don't necessarily need to have the background, but we'll look at things like aptitude, like interest, basic skill sets, and of course, very important consideration, overall student safety. Another question that has come up in terms of CCA is actually opportunities. Will O-level girls and integrated program girls get equal opportunities? This one is actually generic, okay, not just CCA, but I'll use CCA as an example. Yes, they do get equal opportunities in many areas, including CCAs. We have CCA leaders from both O-levels, we have CCA leaders and the integrated program as well. Same thing, we have council leaders from both O-levels and integrated program, and they work very well together. So we are very proud of these opportunities which allow girls from all programs, all classes to interact and to work together. And this is how they grow their social networks.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ting. So let's move on to transiting to Sec 1. There is a question on how the students are placed in the classes, right? So generally for the Sec 1 students, you are placed randomly in the classes. We have 5 O-level program classes and 5 IP classes, right? So within IP and OP, you are placed randomly. We believe that it's very important for you to make new friends, to make friends really from very diverse backgrounds, different schools, different perspectives, and that will enrich your learning experience, right? I would say that to facilitate timetabling, it will be the students who are taking the music elective program, right? Because when your classmates are taking the design and technology and the food and nutrition lessons, you would be having your extra music lessons for MEP, right? So to facilitate the timetabling, we will place you in the same class. But other than that, you are well mixed, right? So SENIX, it's unusual in a sense that we have students from really a whole range of primary schools. And it's not unusual that you could be the only one from your primary school, or maybe just 2 of you in the primary school. So it's very important for us to make sure that when you come in, you can make friends quickly. You get to know not just your classmates, but the whole cohort, plus your seniors well, so that you can settle down and have a good support network, right? So in terms of helping you to settle down, what is very important in our school is number 1, to build a very strong social network for you, and number 2, to build a very positive peer support culture. Where our students are very proactive in coming forward, in lending a hand, and to supporting their fellow schoolmates as well. So in our SENIX, we talk about the culture of sisterly love, 姐妹同心, and we say that when you come to SENIX, straight away, you have 3,000 sisters, right? So that's the strength of sisterhood that we have in St. Nicholas. And the connection, it is not only just with your schoolmates of your current cohort, but you will also have many, many opportunities to get to know and to even work with our alumni, who are very active in coming back and to support the younger sisters in the school. Right? So you'll be well mixed, in terms of orientation program. It will take place during the first week. It's a day program, so you'll be going home after every day. And during that orientation program, we'll help you to learn more about the school. We'll help you to also get to know your new classmates and schoolmates well. We also start introducing to you important skills that you need to know at secondary level. How do you study well? What are the requirements of each curriculum? And also give you a good sensing of some of the enrichment and talent development programs that we have for you. Right, so really the first term or so is really transiting you in, helping you to get used to the school, helping you to know the teachers and your fellow classmates well. Right, so look forward to making new friends and to the new experiences as well. Right, so we do have a couple of questions regarding how then do we deal with peer relations? And there's a question about how does your school deal with bullying? Right, I think for SENIX, all schools in Singapore, it is a zero tolerance approach to bullying. Right, we really want our school to be a very safe environment, and I think that we have put a number of good processes in place that really enables a very positive learning environment in the school. First and foremost is our culture of sisterly love. So when they come in, that is one thing that we really stress, that we are in it together. No child is left behind. We want to appreciate and celebrate the differences, and that we want to respect and care for every member of the school community. So that's number 1. Secondly, when you come in right from Sec 1, it's a very intentional effort for us to build a very strong social network and to build a very positive peer culture in the class and in your CCA as well. Right? So at the same time, you also know that, if you look around you, I guess for parents, this is a generation where their lives are very closely intertwined with the social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook. So from time to time, for girls, they may be a bit too, I would say, quick in expressing their views, right? In terms of sharing their perspective or their disagreement. In those sense, what we will do is that we will work with the child, help her to understand why her actions are not appropriate, and more importantly, from there, move on to rebuild and repair the relationship that she has. Right? So, like what Mr. Ting says, for us, we come from the point of education, of learning. right? And we also believe that our girls are very young. They're 12, 13 years old, 14 years old. And for them, it is also a period where they are asserting their independence. They are grappling with this new sense of freedom because they are in secondary school. And I have to admit, our girls are very independent thinkers. They have views and perspectives, and they feel very strongly about that. So our role as educators is to help them to channel their capabilities, their thoughts in a more nuanced and more tactful manner when they share their point of view with their friends, right? So, I would say, next, take a look at our videos, listen to what our girls have said. And I think when you see how our students and teachers shares, it is not so much about the programs in the school, but the environment and the culture and the beliefs that the school stand for. And that provides a very conducive and safe environment for the students in the school. Right. So we do have a question, a couple of questions about the use of IT in the school. So do the students need a smartphone? And also because MOE has announced the upcoming policies on home-based learning and personal learning devices. So what are the school's plans on those? So Mr. Ting, over to you.
I'm sure that's a question that many of us have in our minds. Okay, the use of technology. Maybe I want to bring us to, some of us have seen the advertisement by a certain telco on TV about this girl in a classroom looking with AR, going to Mars, seeing a doctor perform remote surgery. And that's really the point of what technology is supposed to do. It's not meant to be for technology's sake, but it's meant to enhance the learning experience that students have. And that is really the philosophy of MOE as a whole system and of St. Nicholas as a school. The anchor is always going to be strong pedagogy, quality curriculum, quality teaching and resources by the teachers to give the best experience to the students. Technology, we recognize, can enhance the learning experience in ways that some of them we can see already, and some of which we do not know yet. So please be assured that we will definitely craft learning experiences that will allow your girls to benefit from the technology. Don't worry about, do they need to only do e-learning now? Definitely not. We will look and see what is the best way to use technology. So some of the things that could be done, to let the girls be more independent is to read up at home and then come to class, they will discuss more deeply compared to a traditional methodology where students learn the content in class and then need to practice worksheets at home. So this way of flipping around the arrangement actually allows us to go more deeply and to develop the critical thinking skills that are more important in the future. So on the note about the devices, okay, the device plans will still be under consideration. The Ministry of Education will announce more details in time to come. But I would like to assure all parents and all students that when we choose the devices, we are looking at the devices which have the best features and the best functions, which are able to support the SENIC's curriculum well, so that the students will learn best. Okay, we're not going to select the device simply because it is a very hip device, okay, very trendy, it's very powerful. No, it's really what is the best device, okay, which is cost effective and which will be important for the students to support their learning. So we'll share more information once more information is available.
Okay, right. So notwithstanding that, for SENICS, we are already very active users of ICT in our teaching and learning as well. Right. So, as part of the natural process of teaching and learning, as part of their research, our girls are really actively using either their smartphones. If you don't have a smartphone, it's fine. Please don't go out and buy a smartphone for your child. If she doesn't have one, we will easily loan her an iPad from our school for her to participate in discussions as well. Right. So no worries about that. And anyway, any purchase at this point in time is premature because for next year, all the secondary schools will be embarking on the personal learning devices, and that's the point where you would be offered a personal learning device at a highly discounted price, right? So just hang in there until you go to your new school, and then from there, further information will be shared with you, right? So I will just maybe skip a couple of questions in terms of LEAPS, right? And there's a question about if my child is not in a leadership role, or how then will she be able to get her LEAP points, right? So Mr. Ting, would you like to clarify that?
Certainly. So as I shared, it is easier compared to our time to get the points for CCA. The LEAPS is not something which is solely restricted to CCA. They are able to get leadership in other areas, such as being a class leader, such as being a leader at the school level, or they can own their own, be leaders of themselves, embark on the National Youth Achievement Awards, NYAA, and that's another way for them to get the leadership points. So many opportunities are available for them in the various aspects of LEAPS, not just CCA.
Right. In fact, I would say if for every child, her journey in SANICS over the 4 years is carefully planned and curated. So as long as she just participates actively in the programs that we offer her, she will get her LEAPS excellence points. Right. So regardless of whatever CCA she's in. Right. So let's move on to some of the more practical questions. I want to take the one about the canteen, about SANICS canteen. So you see the smiles on our faces. We have a fantastic canteen. We have 16 stalls in our canteen. It's amazing. It's a huge canteen, right? Yeah. And the food is it ranges from Japanese to pasta to Malay cuisine to noodles, sandwiches, bento, sushis. So you and even double boiled soups, Tzucha stalls. So there's no lack of food in SANICS. Yeah. So it's a famous canteen. I wish that the pandemic weren't here, and we would be more than happy to invite you into. But for girls, when you join us, you'll be spot for choice. Right. Transport to SANICS. Yes, we have an MRT within walking distance. It is the Mayflower MRT station. The good thing is that once the station is up, you have a covered walkway. So even when it rains, you're covered all the way from the station to SANICS. There's a slight delay to the station because of the circuit breaker and of course, because of all the current restrictions. But we hope that latest the station will be up by the end of 2021. So if you drive by, you would see that the stations are actually kind of all up already. And it was quite interesting because we worked very closely with LTA and they actually invited our girls down for a tour of the station while it was still being built. And that was the opportunity we offered to our science and math talent development program to actually go down and see a station being, in the midst of being built, right? And having conversations with LTA as well. So I will say that hopefully by the time the incoming Sec 1s are in Sec 2, that's fine. The station will be up and running, very convenient. Can you take a school bus to school? Okay, so you know that we have a primary section and our primary girls take the school bus to school. What we would advise our girls and parents to do is to contact the school bus driver directly. We do have a couple of secondary girls who live quite far from us and they do take the school bus to school, but that really depends on whether or not our school bus already ply that route and whether or not there is a place or a vacancy in the school bus, because primarily they are picking up the primary girls. Right, so the school bus contact can be found on our website. You can just go ahead and contact the school bus directly. Right. Other than that, in terms of maybe I think the more miscellaneous questions, science subjects offered in upper secondary. So in terms of streaming, most of our girls, right, they will take the double math, double science, and double humanities combination. Right? Yeah, we do offer the triple science, but the double math, science and humanities, that is the most popular combination. Right? And basically, it's for the girls to decide what are the subjects they are interested in doing, and that's the one that we would offer for them. Then on top of that, of course, you have the art, the MEP permutations as well for those who are interested. Right? So, altogether, we have about 300 plus students coming in from OP and IP, like I said, 500 OP and 500 IP, right? And I think we have settled most of the questions. So colleagues, do you want to look through and see whether there are any other questions that you would like to answer?
Maybe I just clarify one question that I saw earlier. So for parents, for the O-level students who are keen to go to Eunoia JC, just do take note that St. Nick's is not affiliated to Eunoia JC. So if O-level students, if you're keen to go to Eunoia, right, there's no affiliation point benefit. For St. Nick's is affiliated to Catholic Junior College. So students who do want to go to junior college and benefit from the bonus points, then the JC will be Catholic Junior College. Yeah, thank you.
Right. So, the last few questions, maybe I'll just handle them about in terms of the library. We just renovated our library. It is a research library. And really, it's for students to have their small group discussions, to studies, to carry out their research project. It's a beautiful library. So when you come in, during your tour with the school, we will show it to you as well. In terms of OP and IP, and there's a question: how do we build the ties between the students from the different tracks? Actually, there is no discernible difference. Life is very integrated in St. Nicholas. For them, when they come to the school, the tracks are transparent, I would say, in that sense, right? They work together, they are on projects together, they are doing the CCAs together, right? And it's the same for students who are non-affiliated as well. So whether you're affiliate or non-affiliate, you're all well mixed in the class. It's a fresh new beginning. It's a fresh start for our girls. And the message that we communicate to all the girls is that, first and foremost, congratulations, you have done very well for your PSLE. But now the PSLE has a place in your distant past. Your T-score has a place in the distant past. What we want to do is look forward to a fresh start and the new opportunities already, right? So, we look forward to and be proactive in making new friends. Look forward to the learning experiences as well, right? And at the same time, I think more importantly, really, really, truly enjoy your time in St. Nick's. It's going to be an amazing experience, right? So with that,
we have one question on the parent support group. Is it active in St. Nick's? Yes, it's very active. Very strong support for the parents to our girls. If you are keen, we will be sharing more information after the Sec 1 registration. Okay. And the PSG is also a very effective way for you to find information and to clarify any points you have. We work very closely with them to share things that parents need to know. And also they let us know things that parents are asking. So looking forward to you joining the PSG.
Right, and we also look forward to seeing all of you in St. Nicholas. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. Please do visit our open house website. All the questions that you have asked, most of the information can be found on the website, and enjoy the videos that we have created for you on our website as well. So with that, thank you very much. Have a wonderful holiday, girls. It's a well-deserved break. And may I also wish all of you a very blessed and Merry Christmas. Thank you. Bye.